Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Nah, what's up, YouTube, man? It's your boy coming at you with another video. Man, I'm at home right now, as you can tell. Enjoying home time, resting up, getting ready to get back on the road. I actually head back out in the morning, going back up to Detroit, getting in that snow, that winter weather that we all love as truck drivers. But no, man, I had a little time I wanted to bring you guys another video. So, yeah, we here. One of the biggest questions that's being asked to me, one of the biggest questions that's been getting asked to me is what made me get my CDL, how hard it was or easy it was, and how have I been liking it since then. We'll talk about it on the other side. Peace. Okay, so how did I get my CDL? That's a good question. What happened was, the first thing I did after I decided I wanted to get my CDL was I called around to multiple trucking schools here in San Antonio because I didn't want to go through a company and have them get me a CDL because I didn't want to be tied down to them for a year or maybe longer. I felt like, that was just doing a disservice to myself. And so I called around to the different companies and they all had different price points, different state regulations, stuff like that. What made me choose the trucking school that I went to was that it was the only one in San Antonio that offered training without restrictions. So what I mean by that is most companies and truck driving schools are leaning towards just automatic driving. So once you graduate, you'll have an automatic restriction on your license. I didn't want that because I eventually plan on starting a bigger truck company myself and becoming an honor route myself. And as far as like trying to purchase a truck, I didn't want to restrict myself to being only able to drive and purchase automatic trucks. Same thing with different companies, like the guy I work for now, he's the owner route and I drive a manual like you guys see, and the price, or I was able to negotiate my pay because I could drive a manual. And unfortunately, there are a lot of drivers that come out now that just can't drive them. So if you don't have a restriction on your license, the world is kind of your oyster right now. So I called different trucking schools. I ended up choosing Alamo truck driver training, and the price was about $6,600. So we did that, and school was weird, right? So what happened was I actually took the permit test, and because of the pandemic and everything else, the DMV had a backlog of people trying to test for their CDL. So the way my trucking school did was, after you took your permit test, they'll bring you back 10 days prior to your testing date. So I got my permit like 2 months or 2.5 months before I even took my road test. So that was like 2 months in between that where I just wasn't doing anything. I was doing this, doing that, but I wasn't doing anything really, not pertaining to trucking. So yeah, that's how I got it. I passed my test on the first try, thank God. I didn't have a problem with it, and I've been driving trucks since then. So another question that has been getting asked to me is exactly how hard is trucking once you come out of trucking school? So that's a very interesting question because it isn't, I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer to that. Like what's easy for me may not be easy for you, and what's hard for me may not be hard for you. So but for myself, it's been kind of easy. It has its challenging moments just like anything else in life, but you have to be able to understand that comes along with any occupation that you choose. I think the hardest thing about this job is honestly the sacrifice of family and time, because you're gonna have times where you do want to be home next to your child or your woman or your family, and you realize you can't. And that has been, if there is a hard thing, that has been the hardest thing for me. In regards to, as far as the job itself, what's hard about it, I don't necessarily think that there's anything hard, you know. But then again, I think what you have to take into account is like what kind of like driving you're doing, exactly what you're running, if it's reefer, dry van, flatbed, you know, hot shotting, whatever you guys do. I think each different lane offers its own challenges. So I basically like drop and hook and dock fish. The most aggravating they get for me is weather restrictions and live loads or live unloads. Those are the most time consuming things for me. But in regards to that, you only can control what you can control. And that's just how it goes, you know. When you in trucking school, and you will notice if you went to a private trucking school, I don't know how they do things in the company truck schools, because I didn't go that route. But for us, it felt like they only taught us what we needed to be taught to pass the road test, right? So like, I didn't know anything about sliding tandems or weight adjustments or anything like that until I actually got out on the road and started training with the first company I was with, which was night transportation. I didn't know procedural wise, as far as like how to check in at shippers and receivers, what to look for, what's a BOL, which is a bill of landing, what to look for the weight, who to talk to. Like it's those things that it takes time to learn as you're out there. That's where experience becomes a vital part of this occupation, because anybody, well, I don't want to say anybody, but once you get your license, you can hop in the truck and drive. But the difficulty lies in like, do you have common sense? And once you answer if you have common sense, the next question you need to ask yourself is, do I have problem solving skills? Because that's one thing you need a abundance of out here as a truck driver, problem solving skills. And that's because not only are you gonna run into problems while driving the truck, whether it be at the shippers or at the receivers or on the road, like you're gonna have times where you're gonna have to like think for yourself, because your DM might not answer the phone, or your DDM might not answer the phone, or your safety guy might not answer the phone, and you're in a precarious situation where you're just like, man, I gotta figure this out now. Like, for example, I was just out on the road this last week, and I was coming from Michigan, heading back down to Texas. When I got to Michigan, I dropped the trailer. They called me and they say, hey, we have a severe weather advisory. We may be calling you guys to shut down, because the owner op I run up under, he runs up under PAM. So he's leasing through PAM, which means he has to follow PAM rules. And if you're a truck driver, you know what I'm talking about. So I got the weather alert in Michigan. And so I know, because I look ahead, because as a truck driver, you gotta learn how to plan ahead, like what's gonna happen, look for weather reports, alternate routes, stuff like that. So I'm looking at the weather report and I'm like, if I get on the road now, by the time I stop tonight, I'll be outside of where storms at. So I'm trying to beat them calling to shut us down. I get on the road and I'm heading through Indiana. I get a call. They say, hey, it's time to shut it down because of the snowstorm that's hit. I'm actually driving the truck. You gotta remember, the people that's calling me, they're in Texas. So I'm your eyes and ears out here. Yeah, you have a radar, but I'm telling you what I see. They make the call. They say, hey, we gotta shut down until further notice. Now, all truck drivers know, when they say shut down in the snow, you're sitting. Like, you're sitting at least for a day or two. You're sitting, because they're not gonna risk their freight, right? So they make the call. I pull over to a truck stop, because again, I may not like the determination, but I still have to abide by the rules because I'm a driver. I sit down for about 3.5 hours. After about 3.5 hours, I'm noticing, hey, the rain has gotten light. There is no snow. I'm looking at the weather report that says, hey, we got a few hours, it's slowed down. So I hadn't got a call at that point. Like, I hadn't got a call. Nobody has said anything, so we're still going to shut down. I take the initiative. That's the key word, initiative. Understand that you are the captain of your ship, and more often time than not, they're gonna take your word. So I called them, and I called, nobody's answering the phone, but I kept calling because I wanted to be persistent, because I knew I could do this, and I knew I wanted to be home by a certain time, right? So I called. They finally answered. I say, hey, this is what it looks like out here. I'm looking at the weather report. Are we still up under an emergency shutdown? The guy checks the radar. He says, hey, where you are right now, you're right up under the storm. So if this is a storm, he's saying you're right here. If you feel that you can make it, it's up to the driver's discretion. Of course I burnt off. Because if I wait and the snow gets on top of me, I'm not getting out of there for days. So of course I take off. Because we all know if your truck is not moving, you're not making no money. So I gun it from Indiana to Illinois. As I'm driving through Illinois, it starts to snow, right? So now I know, because I can look at the radar and see this, I know I'm on the edge of the storm. I can actually pull over now and actually get my 10 hours and get up and drive in the morning without being worried about like being trapped in. The point of this story was to show you that sometimes you may get a judgment or a call like from someone that says you have to do something or you need to do something, but ultimately, if you see something that's happening or unfolding in a way where you can handle it, make the call. Call people, talk to people, explain to them about what's going on. And that's I think that's the biggest piece of advice I got like while I was in trucking school. They said that you will always be the captain of your ship, always. But if you don't ask or if you don't speak up, you're gonna always be at the mercy of these companies and these owners. You know what you can do and how you can do it, and so you do it. That's my biggest takeaway as far as like, is it hard or is it easy being a truck driver? Because a lot of people do get overwhelmed with stuff like that. They get frustrated with talking. A lot of people will have somebody say something to them or do something to them in regards to trucking or make a decision that they don't like, and they sit there and boil on the inside about it. I'm upset, I'm angry because I don't agree with this decision. But you have to know what you're talking about. And that's where experience comes into play. You have to have drove in those conditions. You have to have gone through some problems to know how to solve those problems before you can start making calls like that. Because just because you think you can do it, you have to convince them that you can do it. Because see, if you can't explain to them about what you see and what's going on and convince them that you know how to do it, then they're gonna say you're just a rookie. You're just a rookie. So know what you're talking about. Take the time to actually learn the trade of being a trucker. Like being a trucker is more important than making content. And that's not a slug towards anybody. I promise you I'm not taking a slug. I know, and I hate the name drop, but I know there's a young YouTuber and a young trucker by the name of Bobby Reach and a young YouTuber and a young trucker by the name of Tiki. Those guys seem like they great guys. They seem like they young bulls, man. They chasing the game. But making content isn't as important as learning the craft of driving a truck. And I take that very seriously because I've chosen not to speak on this, but since I'm here now, I'm speaking on it. I have no issue with them as men because I don't know them as men. I don't know their life, I don't know their choices, I don't know what they have going on. What happens is, I am a father as well, right? I have a little boy. I have a fiance at the house. I have life outside of this, right? Trucking is my occupation. This is how I pay my bills. This is how I put food on the table. Like, this is my future, right? When you are a truck driver, a commercial vehicle is what you are operating at 80,000. Y'all know what I'm talking about. As a truck driver, you know at any second, anything can go wrong. Because just like we have so much that's in our control, there's probably 10 times more that isn't in our control. We can't control if a deer jump out in front of us. We can't control if a four-wheeler gets in front of us and just mash the gas or have road rage. We can't control weather conditions. We can't control if just different elements that we can't control. If making content is more important than learning how to drive the truck first, then in my opinion, you are at that point putting me in danger and putting my family in danger. Because if you're not safely operating a vehicle, because you're trying to be a creator, then that's mind-boggling to me. Especially you don't have the experience behind that. I'm all for the mission of we're trying to elevate rookie truck drivers to learning more and seeing our journey and showing our growth and instilling this positivity. I love it. I swear I love it. But you have to also know that this is how you're feeding your family. This is how you're making a living for yourself. And you're on a road with thousands of people a day. Think about how many people we pass a day in a truck. Think about how many people we encounter a day on the highway. A lot of us, if you're OTR, are dedicated. You're traveling through multiple states a day. You're encountering different families a day. Anything can go wrong. Anything can go wrong. And I have nothing against them young bulls, but you have to know that you are driving a dangerous vehicle. A dangerous vehicle that can change somebody's life forever. And I do mean that from the bottom of my heart. I have no ill will towards you guys. You guys are some little homies. Like, I love the grind, but enjoy the process of actually becoming a trucker. Because Bobby, you say it all the time. You don't know what you don't know. And until you get that experience, you just don't know. See, I don't believe in super truckers. I don't believe in the idea of super truckers. But what I do know is that a lot of us have families. At least 85, 90% of us have actual immediate family back home waiting on us to get home. See, they're not upset that you're making content, Bobby and Tiki. They're not upset that you're making content. They're upset because they feel like their family is in danger. And that's all I'm gonna say. Like, I'm not gonna tell you young guys what to do. I really hope that you guys find success in whatever endeavor you choose to do. But understand that a lot of us want you to succeed, but we want you to be safe more than that. We want our people to be safe more than that. So that's what I'll say on that. A lot of people ask me why I became a trucker. Man, I became a trucker just like everybody else became a trucker. We was all out here looking for a way to make some money, looking for a way to feed our family. We were trying to come up with different things that wasn't working, so we said, cool, we'll become a truck driver. I didn't grow up as a kid seeing truckers and like, oh, I want to be a trucker. I didn't grow up like that. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't have no fascination or dream. If you would have asked me a year ago, was I gonna be driving trucks right now? Wait, not a year, because I almost have a year experience. But if you would have asked me 2 years ago, was I gonna be a truck driver? I would have said no. And if you would have asked me 4 years prior to that, would I be what I thought I was gonna be 2 years ago? It would have been a no. But that's the thing about life. You don't know. Every day you wake up, you're gonna encounter a different set of circumstances that require you to make a different set of decisions, right? Remember, every decision has a consequence. And it could be a good consequence or a bad consequence, but it's gonna be a consequence. And that's all I have on that, man. Hey, thank you guys so much for supporting me. I really do believe in you guys, and I hope you guys believe in me. Please subscribe to me on the way out. If you don't subscribe to me, thank you for just watching the video. Cause you couldn't, I think right now we have 14 minutes. You could have not took the time to watch this. But hey, if you saw my face and wanted to take a minute with your boy and kick it with me, I'm appreciative of it. As always, peace and love to all of you guys. I'll check on you guys while I'm on the road. Definitely gonna give you guys a video while I'm out there this time. Hey, I might get trapped in the snow. You never know. But no, seriously, man. I pray nothing but peace and love to all you guys and your family. And if you are a truck driver, man, keep trucking, keep going, stay strong, and keep it in the road. Holla at you next time. Peace.